The city did not sleep. Not in the way humans understood sleep, with soft breathing and dreams, but with a slow, deliberate awareness that hummed beneath the pavement and slithered along the rooftops. Even from the safety of the hotel room, the man could feel it pressing in, a subtle vibration in the air, as though the streets themselves were alive and observing. Lights outside flickered unevenly, shadows stretching longer than reason allowed, bending toward unseen angles. The stranger stood at the window, eyes narrow, lips pressed thin, listening to the city as if it were a conversation spoken in a language older than human ears. His brother leaned slightly against the wall, quiet, still, watching, waiting. The father's hands itched for the comfort of a weapon, though none had yet been necessary. He felt the weight of something coming, something inevitable, hungry, and patient. By the time they descended toward the hotel's club, the evening had thickened into a viscous darkness that pressed against skin and thought alike. The entrance hummed with music, smooth, hypnotic, slow at first, then insistent, and the scent of sweat and perfume and something far fouler carried across the threshold. At first it appeared normal, laughing patrons, clinking glasses, bodies moving to rhythms that belonged to the living. But the stranger's gaze never left the room. He did not watch people. He watched what hid beneath them. Shadows that lingered too long. Figures that slipped between walls. A faint ripple in the air where reality itself seemed fragile. The father felt a sudden cold chill, though no windows were open. Something in the room, subtle and dangerous, had shifted, but only the stranger knew the truth, and he did not yet speak. Time warped inside the club, stretching and contracting unnaturally. Music beat, alive and almost tactile, while the lights pulsed in slow, uneven waves that seemed to follow the rhythm of unseen hearts. Patrons moved, unaware of the space between themselves and death, unaware of the hunger gathering just behind their smiles. The children felt it first. The daughter stiffened, sensing something watching from corners that held no bodies. Her brother tightened his grip on her hand, eyes wide, shadows reflected in his pupils that had no source. The father tried to steady his own nerves, but the air pressed into his chest, as though the walls themselves were aware of his pulse. The stranger's lips moved in silent calculation, murmuring in tones that vibrated against the edge of comprehension. "Not yet," he said finally, almost to himself. "They are not ready to reveal themselves." At exactly 2 a.m, the club inhaled, and the change was immediate, subtle, and catastrophic. Smiles stretched too wide. Eyes darkened and then glowed faintly with hunger. Skin grew pale, veins darkening as if shadows were crawling beneath it. One of the dancers stopped mid-step, head tilting unnaturally, and in a motion both fluid and horrifying, she bit the man beside her. A scream cut the music short, loud and desperate, only to be swallowed by another, then another. Chaos erupted. Patrons stumbled, tried to run, but doors resisted, hallways warped. The creatures, the club's new occupants, revealed in their true forms, moved with inhuman speed and strength, dragging victims into corners, into dark alcoves, into pits of screaming flesh. Bullets fired from frightened guns hit nothing, passing through bodies as if air itself had hardened around them. Only one weapon worked. Wood sharp and driven into hearts, reducing the creatures to ash before it could catch them again. The father grabbed his children, pulling them back against the stranger and his brother. "Stay close," he shouted, voice cracking but steady enough to cut through panic. The stranger wielded a sharpened stake as though it were part of him, moving in precise arcs, striking creatures that leapt from ceilings and walls. His brother followed, efficient, silent, deadly, keeping attackers from reaching the children. The daughter struck with instinctive fury, her fear transmuted into controlled aggression. The boy hesitated only a moment, then joined his father in stabbing at the unnatural forms that lunged. Ash fell like rain around them, smoke curling in the light as bodies dissolved, but more creatures kept coming, emerging from shadows deeper than the eye could follow. The hotel, the city, the streets outside, all seemed to hum with the awareness of the feeding, as if the city itself had opened its maw and the travelers had entered willingly. Amid the chaos, a fleeting thought struck the father. The city was alive. Not human alive, not even animal alive, but aware alive. It had shaped itself to harbor predators, to hide the truth beneath the ordinary. And the stranger, with his divine sight, was their only guide. Without him, the night would have swallowed them whole. Together, the 4 of them moved like a single organism, a fragile alliance bound by terror, instinct, and an unspoken understanding. Survive or be consumed. And somewhere in the shadows, waiting beyond the edges of their vision, the lead predator. the one who had orchestrated this feeding, watched patient, knowing that the real hunt had only just begun. The club was a facade, a mask of music and light that hid the true hunger beneath its polished floors. After the initial chaos of 2 a.m., the surviving travelers, father, daughter, stranger, and his brother, found themselves pressed against walls, catching fleeting breaths while ash drifted down around them. The smell of blood and sweat hung thick in the air, almost tangible, clinging to skin and clothing. Patrons who had survived the first onslaught crawled toward exits, only to find the doors unresponsive, warped as if reality itself had decided they could not leave. The father realized then that their fight had been only the first ripple. The real current of this city ran deeper, darker, and far more organized than they could have imagined.